The story begins on a typical Japanese day. Kazuma was an ugly, disgusting gamer who spent all his time playing video games instead of paying attention in class. One day, while heading home, he spotted a girl from his school about to be hit by truck-kun. Without hesitation, he pushed her to safety, only to be struck himself. The next moment, he woke up in the afterlife, where a goddess named Aqua informed him that he had passed away. He asked about the girl, and Aqua reassured him that she was fine, making Kazuma realize that his death was not in vain. However, Aqua then cruelly revealed that he didn't actually die from being hit by the truck, but from sheer shock. He had a heart attack because he thought he was about to be hit. To make matters worse, she laughed hysterically and added, "I've been a goddess for thousands of years, and no one has ever died as stupidly as you. You didn't die a heroic death. You died of a heart attack. And then you peed yourself." She continued mocking him before presenting him with two choices. He could either go to heaven, where there were no girls and no physical pleasures, living alone in eternal boredom, or he could be reincarnated into another world filled with adventure and beautiful women. Additionally, he could take one special power with him. Without hesitation, Kazuma pointed at Aqua and said, "I want you to come with me." Before Aqua could protest, the goddess of light appeared and declared, "Your wish shall be granted." As they began teleporting, Aqua panicked and pleaded, "Please don't send me, I don't want to go." Kazuma smirked. "You made fun of me, goddess. Now I'll take you to that world and I will observe all your magic drop by clapping day and night." He laughed maniacally as Aqua screamed in protest. The goddess of light completed the spell, sending both of them into another world. Upon arrival, Aqua burst into tears. "How did I get stuck in this world with a bastard like you?" They made their way to the Adventurers Guild to begin their new journey. When they arrived, they met the head of the guild, who told them that they needed to pay 2 gold coins to become adventurers. Hearing this, Aqua gasped. "We have to pay to become adventurers?" Kazuma turned to her and said, "Take out your money and give it to them." Aqua fumbled nervously. I forgot my purse in heaven." Kazuma groaned. "It seems you're completely useless. Why did I even bring you here?" Left with no other choice, they sat alone, mourning their situation. Aqua then had an idea. "I'm a goddess, and there's a priest over there. If I ask him, he'll definitely give me money." She approached the priest and said, "I am the goddess Aqua. Can you lend me some money? I promise I'll return all of it later." The priest scoffed. "I'll give you money, but stop lying about being a goddess. I don't worship Aqua, I worship the goddess of light." Humiliated, Aqua returned to Kazuma with the money, grumbling, "I have no respect in this world. Why did I come here?" Afterward, they were taken to a crystal ball to check their abilities. When Kazuma's turn came, it was revealed that he had no special powers. However, the guildmaster noted that he had a unique talent for easily learning skills. When Aqua's turn came, the guildmaster observed, "Your base levels are low, but you have the potential to be a great priest." With that, both of them officially became adventurers. Surprisingly, the people at the guild came to respect Aqua due to her magical abilities. Kazuma smirked. "Now my adventure in another world begins." But instead of embarking on thrilling quests, they found themselves stuck working as laborers, building houses, sleeping, and repeating the cycle for months. One day, Kazuma finally snapped. "Why are we living like this? We should start our adventure." Determined to turn things around, they decided to hunt a frog monster. However, the situation quickly spiraled out of control when a frog monster started chasing Kazuma instead. Aqua burst into laughter. "What kind of idiot are you? You're running from a frog?" Before she could finish mocking him, another frog appeared and ate her. Kazuma rushed to save her. After he freed her from the slimy beast, Aqua started crying. "Why does this always happen to me?" Frustrated, the two of them returned to the guild, drank a ridiculous amount of alcohol, and tried to forget their failures. They continued working tirelessly, bathing in cheap inns and scraping by with meager earnings. One day, Aqua posted a notice at the guild, looking to form an adventuring team. A powerful witch named Megumin, a member of the Crimson Demon clan, saw the notice and approached them. To prove her strength, she cast a massive explosion spell, obliterating everything in her path. Kazuma was impressed until she collapsed immediately afterward. Carrying Megumin on his back, he sighed. "Why do you faint after using your magic? And why waste such a massive explosion just to kill a frog?" Megumin pouted. "I only know one spell, but it's the strongest magic." Kazuma groaned. Another useless teammate. Despite his protests, Aqua and Megumin were overjoyed to have formed a party. Kazuma, however, had had enough. "No, I can't take you both on my team. Leave me alone." Megumin, refusing to let go of him, clung to his arm, making a scene. 3 nearby girls started whispering and giggling. "Ugh, look at that guy. He's so gross." Panicking, Kazuma pleaded, "Megumin, let go of me." She smirked. "If you don't take me on your team, I'll tell everyone about all the inappropriate things you've done to me." Kazuma's eyes widened. What nonsense are you talking about?" And so, against his will, Megumin became part of the team. After exchanging the frog kills for money, Kazuma and his party returned to the guild. That's when Darkness, a famous adventurer, entered. "I want to join your team," she declared confidently. Seeing her, Kazuma's jaw dropped. Who is this beautiful girl? Saliva began dripping from his mouth. But then, Darkness revealed her true nature. She leaned in close and said, "I've heard that you do very wrong things with girls, and that's exactly why I want to be part of your team." She moved even closer, whispering seductively, "You can do whatever you want with me. Just include me in your team." Kazuma started blushing furiously as she inched closer, almost as if she were about to kiss him. His heart pounded so fast,
never training for face-to-face situations!
"Include me, and we'll have so much fun together," she continued, pressing forward. Kazuma, overwhelmed and struggling to control his tiny katana, stammered, I'm not feeling well right now. We'll, talk about this later. Then, he bolted out of the guild. However, the next day when he returned, Darkness was still there. Kazuma groaned. What kind of dirty girl is she? I made an excuse so she'd understand that I don't want her on my team, but she's still here. Darkness smirked. Take me on your team, Kazuma. We're gonna have so much fun together. Just then, Darkness's friend, a skilled adventurer, stepped forward and addressed Kazuma. You don't have any magical powers, do you? I can teach you something useful. She led him to a training field and handed him a gold coin. I'll show you how to steal this coin using magic. With a simple spell, she made the gold disappear. Impressed, Kazuma eagerly learned the skill and successfully summoned the magic himself. Delighted with his newfound ability, he couldn't help but feel proud. Darkness, watching from the sidelines, muttered, Now I really have to join this team somehow. Chaos at the guild. Later, back at the guild, Darkness was telling a story, and a female adventurer who had somehow ended up without clothes was looking extremely uncomfortable. Megumin, noticing the scene, shouted at Kazuma, What are you doing, you pervert? Curious, Kazuma decided to test his new magic on Megumin. However, as soon as he cast the spell, her panties vanished. Megumin's face turned bright red. Kazuma, give me back my panties, she screamed, on the verge of tears. Kazuma, grinning mischievously, teased her by dangling them in front of her. Darkness suddenly stepped forward. I want you to try that magic on me too, she declared eagerly. Kazuma's expression darkened. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose, he protested. Despite his refusal, Darkness continued to insist. Before the situation could escalate further, the head of the Adventurers Guild made an urgent announcement. The Great Cabbage Attack. The town is under attack. Everyone outside now. We have to stop the cabbages. Confused, Kazuma followed the crowd outside, only to see flying cabbages swarming the town. Adventurers scrambled to stop the leafy invaders. Amidst the chaos, Darkness stood her ground, determined to shield everyone. With a proud stance, she declared, I will protect you all. However, instead of using her sword, she relied solely on her big melons, allowing the cabbages to smack into her chest repeatedly. The crowd stared in disbelief. After successfully repelling the cabbages, the adventurers gathered the fallen ones and prepared a massive feast. Aqua, however, was furious. She stormed up to the head of the guild. I caught so many cabbages! Why are you giving me so little money? The guild leader sighed. They're just cabbages, Aqua. They're not worth much. Aqua pouted. Then how about these? She said, grabbing her own melons in frustration. Kazuma sighed. This party is insane. Later, Megumin and Kazuma went to a field to practice her magic. Every single day, Megumin unleashed her massive explosion spell, targeting a mysterious castle in the distance. Kazuma, despite the constant blasts, continued accompanying her, even through rain and storms. Unbeknownst to them, the castle belonged to a high-ranking demon. One day, a fearsome figure entered the Adventurers Guild. I am the head of the 7th Squadron of the Demon King's army, the demon announced. For years, I've endured magical attacks on my home. Who among you has been bombarding my castle every single day? The guild fell into stunned silence. Everyone turned to look at Kazuma and Megumin. Megumin, unfazed, remained silent. Kazuma, sweating, also kept his mouth shut. The demon's gaze swept across the room. If the culprit does not come forward, I will eliminate all of you. Before anyone could react, Darkness stepped forward. So, you're a powerful demon, huh? She said, blushing. Tell me, what unspeakable things do you plan to do to me if you take me back to your castle? The entire guild froze in horror. The demon blinked. What? Darkness shivered with anticipation. Will you lock me up, torture me, chain me to your dungeon walls? The demon's expression turned into one of pure disgust. I think I'll leave now. He turned on his heel and began walking away. But Darkness chased after him. No, wait, take me with you. Kazuma, acting quickly, grabbed her before she could leave. Before departing, the demon glared at them all. This is my final warning. If I'm attacked again, I will destroy you all. As he vanished, a dark aura surrounded Darkness. The demon had placed a curse on her before leaving. Aqua, however, easily dispelled it with her divine magic. With that, the battle ended. And that is where part 1 ends. If this video gets enough views, I'll continue this franchise, so like, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Our new anime begins with Haruto, who became shut-in for 5 years after being bullied at school. Then suddenly, a flash of light occurs, and a goddess welcomes him to heaven. She carefully chooses Haruto to be reincarnated since he died in his room. The goddess is about to reincarnate him into a magical world, so she blesses him with a set of overpowered skills. Thinking back on his boring life, Haruto wants to enjoy this new one. And thus he is reincarnated into a royal family as the first prince named Rihard. His father is King Jilk, and his mother is a hero named Galt, who defeated the Demon King. However, when the court mage performs a magic aptitude test, they see that Haruto is only at level 2 with just barrier magic and no elemental magic. This would be considered a disgrace to the king and the hero if the public found out that their newborn is weak. So his own father and mother order their servant to silently dispose of Haruto, considering him trash. The goddess observes the situation and becomes worried. She tells her friend that she granted Haruto a level of 1002, but this world's level measuring device won't go above 2 digits. Moreover, she forgot to give him an elemental power. As a result, Haruto is thrown away into the woods. This goddess is a bit of a knucklehead. Anyway, in the woods, Haruto recalls the barrier magic that the mage mentioned, so he imagines it and the barrier appears. He can also freely change its format at will, so he uses the barrier on himself to fly up into the sky. Haruto is pleased with his powers because they don't even burn a little bit of his mana. Then Haruto lifts the whole area out from the ground and the wolf realizes she's totally screwed. She surrenders to him, but Haruto thinks his ears are ringing. Haruto still proceeds, and then the lady wolf speaks, surrendering a second time. Haruto realizes it was her speaking. Haruto introduces himself and explains to her that his father, the king, threw him away for having weak mana. But the wolf lady named Flaw can see that Haruto has an enormous amount of mana that easily surpasses human limits. Seeing this, Flaw mistakes Haruto for being a demon king, and Haruto goes along with her imagination, saying that he was a demon king in his previous life. Flaw waits for her punishment of death for trying to kill Haruto, but Haruto shows generosity and spares her life. Haruto uses his barrier to create a telepathic link between them to transfer their thoughts. Then, a man arrives claiming to be Haruto's relative. He came to save him and take him in, but Fla claims that Haruto is her master, so he belongs to her. His name is Gold and he offers some milk for Haruto, but Fla refuses. Gold tells her that he lost his first child during childbirth and Haruto was abandoned because he was weak. He wanted to save him because it doesn't matter to him if he's weak. He believes every child should have a chance to live. Hearing his backstory, Fla bursts into tears out of sympathy. Seeing her reaction, Gold offers to take her in as well. They come to a deal, and Fla agrees to his offer. Gold then breaks Haruto's basket to fool everyone into thinking Haruto died. With that, Haruto is adopted by Gold and his wife, Natalia. 9 years go by, and in that time, Haruto gets a little sister named Charlotte. However, it's clear she doesn't like him. Instead, she loves Fla and wants to play with her. But Fla disagrees as she needs to help Haruto. Haruto asks Fla to go with Charlotte, and she agrees. Natalia tells Haruto that Charlotte is perhaps shy around him because he's a boy but is carefree when she's with Fla. Natalia wants Haruto to be social since he's the heir of their family and suggests he do something special for Charlotte to bond with her. However, Haruto is planning to leave home once he comes of age. He even made a clone with a barrier, but doesn't move or talk. If he were to go off on his own, naturally Fla would follow him, and if that happens, Charlotte would hate him for her entire life. Then Gold calls Haruto out to the yard because he wants to train him in swordsmanship since Haruto has the lowest amount of mana. Haruto knows he won't get away from it. Also, Gold is a seasoned warrior at the top-notch level, nicknamed Earth-Shattering Warhammer, so Haruto uses a barrier on himself to make up for his lack of physical strength. When Haruto tries to strike, Gold sees the powerful attack and dodges it in time because it's powerful enough to put a dent in the ground. Gold is surprised to his core. However, Haruto still thinks that he's at level 2 because when he tested himself, his level showed as 002. But even with that level, he can do anything he wants with his barrier magic, even if he lacks elemental power. Later that night, Natalia notices that Gold is lost in thought. Gold tells Natalia that he trained Haruto today, but after seeing his powers, he thinks Haruto might be a reincarnation of a demon. There are records that one of the royal family members got involved with a demon, so it could be possible that Haruto has demon traits in him. Since the demon wolf, Fla, considers him her master, it could be possible. However, both Gold and Natalia don't care and want Haruto to live a normal and happy life. While everything seemed to be going fine, one day Haruto heard a commotion outside. He saw through his surveillance barrier that his father's army had been seriously wounded by attackers. Haruto rushed to his father and Gold told him it was the work of thieves who had attacked them out of the blue. Fla blamed Gold for his incompetence, which put Haruto in a bad mood. He healed almost all the wounded soldiers with his barrier magic, but didn't tell anyone he had done so. Later that night, when Haruto woke up to answer nature's call, he saw Fla standing outside his room. Haruto realized she was still upset because he had gotten angry at her earlier. She really was cute. Haruto apologized for losing his temper, and then he and Fla went outside. He used his surveillance barrier to locate the thieves who had attacked Gold and his army. Fortunately, one of his cameras spotted them, so Haruto quickly used his barrier to fly himself and flew to their location. Incidentally, Charlotte saw them flying away. At the thieves' hideout, some soldiers were involved with them. Unfortunately for them, Haruto arrived, taking down their guards. He quickly froze the thieves with his barrier magic, and when one of them tried to speak nonsense, Haruto made an example out of him. After tying them up, the captain of their group told Haruto that they were soldiers of the neighboring empire infiltrating to cause chaos. They even had a mole working for them, helping them pass the borders of the empire. That was all they knew. Haruto realized that someone more influential than Gold must be behind this plan. The attackers begged for their lives, but Haruto ordered Fla to burn down the entire fort as he couldn't spare those who had attacked his father. Fla burned it all down. Now the matter at hand was to find out why the Imperial soldiers were involved in attacking his father. For the time being, Haruto sent an anonymous letter to inform Gold about this. He mentioned the mole at the border and how he had taken down the thieves and their fort. Somehow, Gold also suspected the involvement of the Imperial family. Meanwhile, Charlotte wanted to know who had helped them. Gold suspected Full, given she was a demon and a powerful one at that, but Charlotte remembered seeing Haruto and Flea flying. She asked Full, thinking there were two Harutos. When she saw Haruto flying, she ran to his room but found him sleeping like a log. However, she couldn't sense Haruto's overwhelming mana while he was asleep. Flea was impressed that Charlotte could sense Haruto's mana, and as few people could do that. Charlotte wanted to know more about Haruto's powers, but Flea kept silent. Charlotte later told Haruto about this, and he started setting up more surveillance barriers to keep an eye on her movements as he wanted to hide his powers from her. For several days, Charlotte kept following Haruto whenever he tried to sneak out, spying on him. Finally, on the 7th day, the situation reversed and Haruto was the one keeping an eye on her. Natalia and Charlotte were about to go on a trip. Haruto suddenly received an alert from the barrier he had placed around Charlotte, indicating they were in danger. Their carriage was attacked by Imperial soldiers. Natalia fled to save Charlotte, blocking their magic attacks, but one spell hit her leg. Haruto communicated with Charlotte through a barrier spell, guiding her to safety. Natalia noticed someone was guiding Charlotte but didn't question it. However, their escape led them to a high cliff. Even so, Natalia jumped off and landed roughly. Charlotte pointed out a cave where they could hide. Natalia took her inside and saw it was filled with luminous plants. She told Charlotte she would go out to find the hero who had helped them reach the cave and asked Charlotte to stay hidden. Just as Natalia left, the cave was covered by an illusion spell and the attackers found her. Natalia considered ending her life rather than being captured, but her dagger was shattered into pieces and an electric shock knocked her out. Haruto arrived just in time, furious that these men had harmed his mother. With a single command, he sent them flying away. He brought Natalia into the cave, asking Charlotte to look after her. She stopped him and asked if he was the hero who saved people and punished sinners. Haruto hesitated, as it was such a childish question, but eventually, he went along with it and accepted the role of a hero, asking her to keep it a secret. After cleaning up the mess, Haruto returned home and Gold got the news of their situation. He wanted to thank the mysterious hero who had saved them. Gold then asked Haruto about the incident, but Haruto remained calm, not worried about the Imperial soldiers, which Gold believed. Natalia and Charlotte then returned home and Gold was relieved to see them safe. For the first time, Charlotte showed affection for her older brother, shocking both of her parents. She kept it a secret that Haruto was the one who had helped them. As episode 3 starts, Charlotte now goes to Haruto every day to play with him, and Haruto doesn't dislike it, especially seeing her cuteness. However, Charlotte gets drawn to his surveillance screen and thinks it's ancient magic. Haruto explains that it's hard to learn wasp magic without proper information. Charlotte then takes Haruto to the castle's library, and he realizes for the first time that their castle has a library. Charlotte picks up a few books on ancient magic like a real librarian because their mother, Natalia, and Fool always read these books to her. Since she can't read herself, she sits on Haruto's lap to read the book, but Haruto tells her to sit beside him on a chair. However, Charlotte is used to sitting on Flea's or her mother's lap while reading. Haruto begins reading the book and discovers that gods can travel between worlds, similar to the anime he used to watch in Japan. Hearing this, Charlotte becomes excited and wants to know more about anime. Haruto tries to explain that it would be difficult for her to understand, but she insists. So Haruto simply explains that anime is like moving pictures. Seeing Haruto's enthusiasm, Charlotte wants to see anime as well. Haruto is swayed by her cuteness, and after 2 weeks, she somehow brings Google into this world. Since there were many genres, Charlotte gets a bit confused, but she eventually chooses a magical girl anime and becomes instantly captivated by it. However, the anime is in Japanese, so she wants to learn the language even though she's still a child. Haruto goes along with it and teaches her the basics. She turns out to be a genius, mastering the language in just 2 hours, and soon she starts searching for word meanings on Google herself. 2 weeks pass in an instant, and Charlotte's love for anime grows fully, especially for zombie and Power Rangers type anime. Haruto doesn't want to let her watch anime all day long, but she looks so cute while enjoying her shows. However, it could affect her health, so as a big brother, Haruto decides to be a bit strict. Since she's becoming an otaku, Charlotte wants to start another season of anime, but Haruto stops her, setting a ground rule of watching anime for only 3 hours a day as it's not healthy for a kid to watch that much TV. This comes as a real shock to her. At dinner, Charlotte is dozing off, so Gold asks Haruto what she's been up to as she spends all her time with him. Charlotte quickly gets up to tell them that she's studying ancient magic with Haruto. After dinner, Charlotte continues to follow Haruto with her puppy dog eyes for more anime, but Haruto is firm about the 3-hour rule. She can tags along in the bath because she has nothing else to do besides watch anime. Typical attacker behavior. Charlotte notices Haruto's royal birthmark, but she has no idea it's a royal mark and instead thinks it's a hero's mark. Finally, when it's night, Charlotte is still sticking to him while their mother, Natalia, enjoys herself and supports Charlotte from afar. Then the day comes when Gold leaves to wipe out the remaining thieves and Charlotte starts worrying about him. She wants Haruto to do something since he's the hero of justice. Haruto, once again swayed by her puppy dog eyes, gives in. She wants Haruto to transform like a hero, so he fulfills her wish by choosing the look of La Luxe Vi Britannia. Charlotte wants to tag along as well, but Haruto refuses because it's dangerous, seeing her sad. Haruto gives her a live surveillance feed, which brightens her up. Haruto then finds those thieves and traps them with his barrier. It's way too easy. He confronts them to give Charlotte a live anime experience. After defeating them, Gold arrives and isn't hostile toward Haruto, asking for his name. Haruto, unable to come up with anything, names himself Still Pending. Honestly, it's the crappiest name and even Haruto knows it. Gold wants to know his motive, so Haruto has to go along with cheesy hero dialogue to make her happy. This cheesy hero, Still Pending, becomes an embarrassing reality with many heroic deeds. After a few days, Haruto successfully creates a working clone of himself, but it becomes a carbon copy. Charlotte, who is right there, becomes confused seeing two brothers. Then Haruto and Charlotte are called out because the crown prince and princess are visiting them. Haruto knows they are his blood siblings, but when Gold greets Princess Moran first, Prince Lise thinks Gold disrespected him for being second. Lise is a cocky brat, but Gold apologizes. Moran tells him to mind his manners, but the brat starts insulting his own older sister because he sees Moran as a tool for political relationships. Haruto can't believe what his royal mother and father have been teaching him. Prince Lise continues his tirade and looks down on Haruto because he's Gold's adopted son and a weak level 2. He gets cocky and challenges Haruto to a duel in the yard to teach him a lesson. Haruto notices that Lise is at level 9 and could max out at 40. Lise takes the first swing, but Haruto dodges it quickly. Lise then orders Haruto not to dodge because he wants to teach him manners, so Haruto complies. But no matter how much Lise attacks, Haruto's barrier protects him. Lise becomes frustrated and demands Haruto fight back. This is what Haruto wanted to hear. He gets back in the game and beats up Lise hardcore. Moran intervenes, telling Lise to stop because he's making a fool of himself. His ego hurt, Lise uses a fireball to harm Haruto, but Haruto cancels his spell. Once again, Moran tells Lise to stop, but he thinks Haruto is cheating because it takes an intermediate mage to cast Magic Absorb. Hearing this, Haruto decides to return every fireball he absorbed, and Lise has no choice but to admit defeat. As a big sister, Moran apologizes to Haruto, but he doesn't mind and takes his leave. Haruto wonders if his royal mother and father are still keeping tabs on him, but then again, they did throw him away for being weak. Haruto realizes anything is possible. And with that, our Taimel, once a foolish knight who met an embarrassing end at the hands of some lowly thugs, awakens in a dark labyrinth with fragmented memories of his past life. But to his shock, he has been reincarnated, not as a human, but as an S-rank behemoth, a creature so powerful that it can obliterate entire nations overnight. Despite his overwhelming strength, when Tama catches sight of his reflection, he is horrified to find that he now resembles nothing more than a dumb little cat. Soon after, a pathetic E-rank adventurer named Raru appears. Overcome by hunger, he is forced to bite the slime-like creature only to discover that it tastes strangely sweet. More importantly, he realizes that he has gained the monster's skills upon consuming it. Understanding the implications of this ability, Tama embarks on a food hunt, devouring various creatures, from flying lizards to rock monsters. Each meal grants him their unique abilities, further enhancing his already godly strength. However, his adventure takes a sudden turn when he stumbles upon what appears to be a treasure chest containing a red crystal. Excited, he reaches for it, but like a cruel trick straight out of a Souls game, it turns out to be a trap, teleporting him onto the back of an S-rank Earth Dragon. The battle is fierce. Tama's attack barely leaves a scratch on the dragon's hardened scales, while the dragon's counterattack sends him flying, causing him to bleed. Just as the beast moves to finish him off, he manages a last-minute counter and uses the chaos to escape through a cavern opening. Meanwhile, in a distant city, a stunning elf adventurer named Era, thicker than sin, begins her day. She arrives at the labyrinth entrance via boat, easily bypassing the guards with her special pendant. Back in the labyrinth, Tama barely clings to life as he stumbles toward the exit, only to collapse from blood loss. Before death can claim him again, Era discovers him and takes him home. When Tama regains consciousness, he finds himself bandaged and resting in Era's house, being nursed back to health by the busty elf. He is instantly overwhelmed by the sight of her beauty and generous plot, but what surprises him more is that Era seems completely unaware that he is actually a world-ending behemoth. For days, she tenderly cares for him, feeding, nurturing, and even sleeping beside him. As he recovers, Tama grows deeply attached to her, vowing to protect her at all costs. One day, Era leaves for the labyrinth and Tama secretly follows, fearing she might meet a gruesome fate akin to the women in Goblin Slayer. However, when she encounters a group of goblins, she easily slaughters them, taking their ears as proof of her kill. Just as Tama begins to relax, a goblin mage appears, launching a fireball directly at Era. Frozen in fear, she is unable to react, forcing Tama to intervene. He pushes her out of the way and slashes the goblin's ugly face, sending it plummeting to its death. Era, astonished by her pet's unexpected bravery, showers him with affection on their way back to town. At the guild, a sleazy adventurer named Kuzman, sporting a tragic haircut, approaches Era, demanding she join his party so he can sire elf children with her. Disgusted, Tama bites his hand, preventing him from laying a finger on her. Infuriated, Kuzman tries to retaliate, but Tama effortlessly rearranges his face with a well-placed claw strike. Just before Kuzman can escalate the situation, the guild receptionist, an intimidating ladyboy named Anna, steps in, threatening to personally clap Kuzman if he dares lay another hand on Era. Terrified, Kuzman flees. After saving Era twice, Tama is officially declared her pet, much to his delight. She spoils him with affection, stroking his fur, but when her hands begin drifting dangerously close to his baby jewels, Tama purrs uncontrollably. Later that night, after getting drunk, Era insists that Tama bathe with her. Initially, he refuses, but his willpower crumbles, and he finds himself soaking alongside her and her two massive floaties. As they relax, she opens up about her past, revealing how her village was attacked by demons and how a heroic elf warrior, the sword-saying Alicia, saved her. Alicia became Era's role model, inspiring her to grow stronger. Moved by her story, Tama snuggles against her. The next day at the guild, Kuzman returns, brandishing an official order demanding Tama's execution for attacking him. However, he offers a twisted alternative. If Era can defeat him in a duel, Tama will be spared. If she loses, she must become Kuzman's baby mama. With no other choice, Era accepts. That night, the entire city gathers to watch the duel between Kuzman, a C-rank adventurer, and Era, who is still only a D rank. Feeling cocky, Kuzman allows Era to choose a partner to fight alongside her. When no one steps forward, he laughs until Tama boldly steps up as her partner. The battle begins. Tama attacks first, but quickly realizes that defeating Kuzman without revealing his true abilities is difficult. Era seizes the opportunity to strike, but Kuzman easily counters, knocking her down. Just as victory seems within his grasp, Tama makes a choice. Using his true strength, he launches Kuzman across the arena, sending his sword plunging straight into his own groin. The crowd watches in shock as Kuzman writhes in agony, while Tama resigns himself to his fate, believing his secret is out. However, instead of recognizing him as a behemoth, the spectators assume he is a rare elemental cat. As a result, Era is declared the winner, and Tama officially becomes her lifelong companion. The following morning, Tama wakes up beside Era and, feeling affectionate, licks her elf ear, only to realize she reacts a little too strongly, nearly drooling from her lower lips. Panicked, he jumps away, but Era pulls him back, demanding more. Later, they visit the blacksmith Vulcan, a busty muscle mommy who is thrilled to meet the legendary elemental cat. She eagerly crafts armor for Tama, dressing him up in stylish new gear. Meanwhile, Era requests a modification to her sword, but Vulcan explains that lightening it is impossible. Instead, she proposes a temporary party so she can analyze Era's fighting style firsthand. In the labyrinth, Era struggles against an orc, but is saved by Tama. Observing her movements, Vulcan realizes the flaw in Era's fighting style. She is not suited for swords, but would excel with knives. Testing the theory, they battle a roper, a tentacled monster that forces Era to adapt. With newfound agility, she slashes through the beast, though not before getting splattered with its creamy remains. Enraged by the roper's violation of his master, Tama obliterates the creature. As they bathe in a natural hot spring afterward, Vulcan reveals that elemental cats like Tama can crossbreed with other species. Curious, Era teasingly tells Tama to grow big and show her his true form. Their next battle pits them against a minotaur, and despite her speed, Era struggles. However, Tama saves Vulcan from being crushed by falling debris, making her fall for him even harder. Impressed by his strength, she officially joins their party. Weeks later, Tama wakes up between both women, overhearing them sleep-talking about wanting to bear his kittens. Determined to resist temptation, he focuses on his evolving abilities instead. One day, Ara and Tama encounter bandits harassing a young girl named Lala. Seeing Tama on Ara's shoulders, the bandits flee in terror. Ara takes Lala to an orphanage, where she is warmly welcomed by the nun. Tama silently vows to always support Ara in her kindness. Later, at the guild, Anna congratulates Ara on reaching C rank. However, the celebration is cut short when an emergency quest is announced. People are vanishing in the town of Rald, and demons may be responsible. Without hesitation, the noble and busty warrior volunteers for the mission, setting the stage for their next adventure.